silent. Abarth.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Give me your tired. You're fed up. You're bored to death, huddled masses, yearning to breathe free. Yearning to break free. Yearning for more. So much more. Give me your new days, full of promise and hope and new possibilities. Days far away from the bonds of sameness and the confines of coloring inside the lines. Give me days where individuality is embraced and originality is its own reward. Give me your liberation from membership in the status quo, from the notion that the grass can't be greener. Give me your right foot. Give me your senses and your sensibilities. Give me your liberation, and I will return the favor. The Fiat 500.
Great ad. So that actually was not, well, it was an ad, but it wasn't going to be an ad. It's kind of on again, off again. We've only aired it one time. It was on TV one time, and we only put it on TV because we were in the Golden Globes, and the other ad that we were supposed to put in the Golden Globes wasn't done. So we put it on TV one time and one time only. And there's so much stuff in there that we couldn't really afford the royalties to run it more than that. But we use this internally probably 9 months or 10 months after the launch. We built it as kind of a manifesto of the brand, because not a day goes by that a vendor doesn't come in and they have the silver bullet for me on how we're going to sell more Fiats and this is what you got to do for the brand, and yet they don't really understand the brand. So we had to create something that really explained where the direction of the brand was coming from, where we were going, and what we wanted to do with the brand. And really, it comes down to this line: an affordable small car can be more than a commodity. And that's the way the car was launched in Europe in 2007. And a lot of people, you guys don't know, but a lot of people don't realize. They think it's a brand new car and a brand new brand. They don't realize 28 years ago we're in this country. They don't realize that we've sold over 800,000 500s worldwide. They don't realize that it's won 80 awards, 20 already in the U.S. It was the European car of the year. It was the design of the year. It's already catching on here in the U.S. So if I look at what our reality is of retail sales, you guys have seen all the clippings from a couple of months ago about the launch of the car and where it was headed. Now you saw last month that we were up 642%. Best month ever, huge gains year over year. Okay, BS, right? Because it was year over year versus the first month that we launched the car. We only had 30 dealerships. We only sold 500 cars. So it was kind of a wow factor of a year-over-year improvement. But behind that, there is real momentum building. So forget about year over year and look at what's happened the last couple of months. December was our best retail sales ever. Back that up in January. Industry drops in January dramatically. Industry was down 26%. We were down 16%, so outpaced the industry. Came back in February, had a record month. Beat January by 70%. The momentum is building. Come back in March, again, record over February. Now April, I'm a little worried about it because 2 back-to-back months we've actually sold down so many cars. I'm worried about our inventory situation going in to close this month. But May will come back. We'll have another record month in May if everything goes okay. I think we might actually pull out this month too, because as of last week we started shipping Abarth. So the first Abarth started showing up last week, which has been unbelievable, the success of that product. Why do I think that is? Really because people say, is it the industry lift? You've had 3 great months. Is it the industry lift? Is it fuel economy? It's really because of this. It's because it's a car that people want to drive, not that they have to drive. They're not coming in saying, I need a car that gets 38 miles per gallon because fuel prices are. They're saying, I want a Fiat 500. It's a car that they don't have to drive. And we see this in what our trades are right now. 40% of our trades are coming out of C and D segment sedans. It doesn't make any sense. We're getting minivans, we're getting trucks, we're getting SUVs, we're getting all different people trading in cars. They're not, we were just talking about where do you put a dealership. You know, traditional thinking is you look at where the segment sells. You look at where people buy A and B size cars. Well, we're coming off that now. We're saying, well, where's the population? Because it's not necessarily people that want an A and B size car. It's people that want something different. That's who's being attracted to this car. We're seeing a range all the way from Gen X all the way up to the boomers that are buying the car. And it's pretty evenly split between the two, and it really matches up very well with our product offerings. Because we range from a $15,000 pop all the way up to a $27,000 Gucci. Now, I would have lost a lot of money on this bet because this is the hottest 500 that we have. Other than the Abarth, it's the hottest 500 that we have. We've only been selling the car for 3 months. We've already sold 700 of them, and we're sold out at wholesale. The dealers have ordered every single one that we can build for our commitment with Gucci. We probably would have sold out retail by now, but we're just getting them into the showroom slowly. So we only have probably less than 200 in dealer inventory right now. So fastest turning, quickest selling car we have, and it's also the most expensive 500. So coming back to, it's not the car that you have to drive, it's the car that you want to drive, which is really interesting when you look at the brand. And it doesn't stop there, it keeps going. You probably all know this, by the end of the year we'll start building the full battery electric 500. We're going to launch it in November at the LA Auto Show. We start building it at the end of the year and start selling it next year. That takes us to 9 500s. Abarth takes us to 10. But we know that even with 10 cars, even with a car from 15,000 to 27,000, a high performance version, a Gucci version, a Cabrio, a hardtop, with all of that, it's one set of sheet metal. So some people are going to want something more. They're going to need more. They have a life stage change. They need more size. So we launched in Geneva the 5-door, 5-passenger 500L. Now you know when we brought the 500 over here, we changed it. It wasn't the European car. We'll do the same thing with this, but it gives you a pretty good indication of what we're doing. So next year we'll bring this to this market. Will give us another leap forward with our product range, and we have to. So it'll be 2 years we're in the market, and we'll bring a second variation. 10 years ago, when this segment was being created and Mini was the only player, they went 6 years before they brought in a car because they could. They were the only player. We can't, because by 14, there'll be 20 competitors in this segment. So we've got to bring product and we've got to bring it fast, and this is the first one that we're going to bring. So on to the Abarth. You know, if you think about everything you know about the 500, it's been called many different things. Fun, unique, different, simple. Some people call it cute. I'm not crazy about that one, but some people say it. But it's never been mean, wicked, nasty. But this car is, and you're going to get a chance to experience that today. So we want to take a second just to give you a little background, 2-minute video on the background of Carl Abarth. Hopefully it's got time.
Karl Abarth was born in Austria on November 15, 1908, under the zodiac sign of the Scorpion. As a young man in 1928, Karl Abarth worked in the Mototune factory as a mechanic. This was the year he'd get his chance. To replace an injured rider, he rode a motorcycle in qualifying for the Austrian Motorcycle Grand Prix. He qualified ahead of the best riders. In fact, Karl got the best time, twice. During World War II, Karl Abarth moved to Italy, obtaining citizenship in exchange for his sporting victories. He devoted himself to car engines, and after an intense and invaluable period at Cisitalia in 1949, he founded Abarth & Company in partnership with Angelo Scaglierini. Their race team was joined by the best drivers of that time. Men such as Vignali, Romano, and of course, the legendary Tazio Nuvolari. Under the sign of the Scorpion, both the company emblem and Karl's zodiac sign, the team won everything possible. But the expenses were becoming too high to bear, so Abarth, as always, found a way. To become more profitable, he conceived the first modification kit for the gear and exhaust terminals of the Fiat Topolino. It was a huge success because Abarth's kit enabled anyone to transform his or her own Topolino into a faster, more appealing, and better-looking car. The year 1959 saw the birth of the Fiat 500. It was the car of young people, of speed lovers. It was a small and affordable car that was fun to drive due to its sporty handling. It was the real democratization of race cars. The car certainly has become a legend, but Abarth cars run all over the world and on all tracks. Witness the Fiat 1100, the Abarth Sim car, or prototypes that enabled him to win more than 800 races in 1967. The successes achieved during the 70s were the last victories that Karl Abarth was able to enjoy. Though he was born a winner, used to being able to outmatch anyone and anything, he finally met a challenge he could not overcome. Karl Abarth died due to a serious disease on October 23, 1979. Once again, under the sign of the Scorpion. The death of its founder marked the end of an era. But like the Phoenix, the Scorpion brand rose from the ashes, keeping alive its founder's philosophy, punch, and passion.
This car is so important to this brand. We're going to look back at this at some point, the launch of 500, the launch of Fiat back into this country. We're going to look back at the milestones that changed and what happened during the launch. This would be probably the second milestone that we'll look at, and possibly one of the most important milestones that we'll look at as the brand is taking off in this country. So you think about when we launched the car last year. We got off to a little bit of a slow start. 5 years ago, probably a little bit more in this room, but 5 years ago, before the car was back in the country, the awareness of Fiat in this country was 8%. 8% of the people knew what a Fiat was. We brought the car back into the country, brought the brand back, and we went the first 6 months, and we really worked hard to increase the awareness of the brand. And in 6 months, we took the awareness up from 8% to 9%. And we were rocking. Then we launched the J-Lo campaign. Now, love J-Lo, hate J-Lo, doesn't matter. I'll tell you what J-Lo did for the brand. In 60 days, keep in mind, 6 months, we went from 8 to 9. In 60 days, the J-Lo campaign took us from 9 to 30% awareness. Milestone number 1. Now, very difficult transition, because you look at that and you say, ooh, J-Lo, very, very, it's a certain demographic, it's a certain person that's attracted to that. I'm worried, where are you going? Are you putting yourself into a small corner? It's already a small segment. What are you doing? This car, milestone number 2, this is the car that opens the door and lets us cast a much wider net across the segment and really do something different, really do something exciting, and change our marketing in a different direction that you can't do with most cars. And most cars, if I try and do one ad that appeals to someone that may like J-Lo, and then I do another ad that appeals to somebody who may like Charlie Sheen, it's disconnected. You can do it with the Fiat, because now I can advertise a regular 500, J-Lo, and I can advertise an Abarth, Charlie Sheen. I can have a wide net that's going to appeal to everybody. I couldn't do that without the launch of this car. So this is a huge advantage for us, and again, it's allowing the brand to go to the next level. So I said we went from 8 to 9, then we went from 9 to 30. We launched the Abarth campaign, and we went to 45. So we are really gaining some traction. The car is not, it actually just landed this week. We just sold our first ones,